all it takes, poll workers at the Athens Board of Elections office say. But not many people are taking the time to walk through these doors and cast their ballots. Advance voting in Athens-Clarke County began 2 weeks ago to fill the District 2 commissioner seat that's been vacant since September. But out of these 7,500 eligible voters who live in District 2, turnout has been low. About 3%, ACC Director of Elections Charlotte Sozeby says.
Yesterday, we conducted advance voting here at the office for about 4 hours, and we have 4 voters. So very low.
While turnout is low, people like Kathleen Brucey are working to spread the word. A neighborhood leader with family connection, she's one of 16 working to increase community engagement here in Athens. She came by to get a copy of the new District 2 map, which changed boundaries January 1st this year.
With the redistricting, a lot of people don't even, first of all, know that there was redistricting, much less know what new district, if any, like they might have stayed in their same old one.
Part of her job is to help people figure out what district they're in. People like Christopher Bartenfeld, who came out to vote today and ran into a surprise.
So I come down here and find out that they've changed the districts around, and I'm now in District 4.
While he can't vote in this election, he says it's still important to make the effort.
Well, I think everybody should make an effort to vote. I don't care whether you agree or disagree with things, you've got to vote because that's our only voice.
The city of Athens hosted a day of remembrance at City Hall to look back on 3 years since COVID restrictions were imposed. Grady Newsource reporter Josh Talevsky tells us more about the city's progress.
Bells chimed in downtown Athens this morning as residents gathered for a day of remembrance at City Hall. 3 years ago today, Athens-Clarke County introduced measures to combat the spread of COVID-19 in the community. City officials and local organizations joined together to recognize the progress that has been made since 2020. Mayor Kelly Gertz commended healthcare workers, law enforcement, and organizations for their work during the pandemic. According to Gertz, Athens-Clarke County had the lowest proportional mortality rate of urban hubs in the state of Georgia. He also encouraged the community to continue to show its support today.
It's important in times of dire emergency, but also in terms of just everyday challenge to be embracing of others and to be supportive of your neighbors. When we give our energy to mutual support, we're going to yield dividends there.
Representatives from Piedmont Hospital, Family Counseling Services of Athens, and Envision Athens spoke to the crowd as well. Cole Napper says that Athenians braved the challenges of COVID well and are the reason there has been a positive change in the county since the pandemic.
People have really pulled together and created a more cohesive community. So we went through this really difficult time. It was very challenging, but I think that we're better on the other side of it.
Bells from surrounding Athens churches rang at the end of the event to symbolize the unity amongst the community. Napper found it very moving.
The significance of having the churches ring their bells today all in unison was just beautiful. I've lived here, on and off my entire life, and I've never heard that before. So it was.
Silicon Valley Bank collapsed Friday as investors quickly began pulling out funds and deposits. Today, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation transferred all deposits into a bridge bank that will be regulated by the FDIC to protect investors. With the largest bank failure our country has seen since 2008, will it affect us here in Georgia? That is the question I posed to UJ economics professor Jeffrey Dorfman.
So in general, it won't. This was the biggest bank failure in a while, but it's still a pretty small bank. Generally, even this bank, Silicon Valley Bank, was sound until people started pulling their money out of it. In a normal bank, like say Truist, which has much more regular, what we would call retail customers, people like you and me that have a checking account with a few $1,000s in it or a few $100s in it, we can't pull out our money fast enough to cause the sort of crisis that happened with Silicon Valley Bank because our accounts just aren't big enough. So I think we're going to be okay. The main impact we will see in Georgia is this is all going to be paid for by an extra fee that the government is going to charge banks, which means those banks will then charge us more fees or pay us less interest or somehow get the money back from all their customers.
So is there anything that people could do, should do, or should not do
Sure.
forward.
If you have over $250,000 in the bank, you should open a second bank account somewhere and keep, under $250,000 in the bank. This is luckily not a problem most of us have, right? The reality is the biggest inconvenience any of us normal people will ever get if something bad happens to our bank is you might not be able to withdraw money for 1 or 2 days.
After the break, one Georgia biker group is driving down the highways on a unique mission. Find out why when we return.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight, both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back, because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
The Athens-Clarke County Democrats are celebrating Women's History Month with an event at the library. Grady Newsource reporter Maddie McCaffrey was live at the library earlier today, and she has a preview for us. I apologize, we seem to be having some technical difficulties. She had the latest for us as they were celebrating women in politics. At just 24 years old, Park Cannon was the youngest representative to serve for District 58. And Madison County is set to gain new funding to address the opioid crisis after the Board of Commissioners approved a resolution for a second opioid settlement last week. Olivia Wakeham spoke to the Madison County Chairman about how the county plans to spend the money.
Madison County is set to receive additional opioid crisis funding after the Board of Commissioners approved a resolution for a second opioid settlement last week. The county has already received around $110,000 from an initial settlement they approved at the end of 2021. The second settlement will add to this amount. So far, the money has gone to equip first responders and law enforcement with Narcan, a medicine that can reverse an opioid overdose. Board of Commissioners Chairman Todd Higdon says they can expect to continue getting money for the next 6 to 7 years.
Same suit, different contributors to the suit, I guess you could say. So we had already entered into that first agreement with the initial Walmarts and everybody else, and this was just a second phase that was brought up.
Emergency Medical Services Director Bobby Smith says opioid use is up from 4 years ago. OASIS, an online analytics system which compiles data from the Georgia Department of Public Health, shows that opioid deaths in Madison County increased from 3 in 2015 to 12 in 2021.
We're seeing the heroin and the fentanyl. That's probably the majority of the overdoses that we run now, the opioid overdoses. So
this packet here lists all of the approved uses for the settlement money. Some of that includes Narcan canisters as well as treatment programs.
What we've done, as soon as we got that money in, we reallocated all that Narcan back out to the law enforcement.
Without the settlement grant, the money for Narcan comes from the county's general funds, which is taxpayer money. In addition to supplying officers with Narcan, Higdon wants to use some money for training programs and possibly to add resources within the jail.
I'm glad it came about, and I think it's in the end of the day, it's really going to help everybody.
As the news spreads, Higdon expects more community members to give their input on how the money should be used. Olivia Wakeham for Grady Newsource.
Kickstands are up. If they're ornamentals, you'll burn up all of. One Georgia biker group is driving down the highways delivering Narcan to law enforcement. I'm joined now by Grady Newsource reporter Sydney Hood. So this group isn't what you'd call your typical biker group.
No, Olivia, and they're known as the Grateful Few Riding Recovery Club. They're based out of Jackson County, and get this, they're all in long-term recovery themselves from addiction, and they use their own stories of survival to help save lives today. And here's another kicker. Half of these bikers right now would be dead if it wasn't for Narcan.
Kickstands are up and engines are hot.
You know, we're a group full of recovery people who want to help other people find recovery, because we know what the misery is like.
Known as the Grateful Few, these bikers have quite a few to be grateful for, like simply having the gift of life.
In 1997, I overdosed on, I assume what was fentanyl. I really don't know. The nurse, she said, you flatlined 3 times. We've had to bring you back.
More than 25 years later, John Siders now drives, carrying with him the drug that saved his life.
Somebody will have another chance at life because of what we're doing.
The Grateful Few rides the Georgia highways year-round delivering Narcan by the boxes, addressing the increase of opioid-related deaths in the state.
I'm able to do something different, that's not a drain on society, because that's what I used to be.
An opioid overdose can turn fatal in just 6 minutes, but Narcan, given through a nasal spray, reverses the effects and restores breathing. Without Narcan, Shelly Siders could not bike with her husband today.
I'm really grateful that his life was saved by Narcan, because we met in recovery.
As the chief of the group, John Langston packs box after box.
The need is there and it's growing.
Growing to 250 boxes delivered this year, riding past last year's total of 200. But the boxes, each containing 2 doses of Narcan, aren't just found on the roads. This box right here sits on the front porch at Reboot Jackson, a recovering community organization here in Jefferson. The Grateful Few Riding Club and Reboot both unite in delivering Narcan, opening up the door, giving people a second chance at life.
We've all rose from the ashes, and this is where we are today.
Today, Langston stands at Reboot Jackson, the RCO he co-founded with one mission.
We're making people see that overdose deaths are real and that this will save people's lives.
And making sure Narcan gets into the hands of those who are on the front line.
It should be widely available. It isn't necessarily so. Any effort we can take to keep people safe, healthy, and alive is a good one.
Efforts including expanding access, not just to law enforcement.
We can expand this to licensed professional counselors and social workers, public health practitioners.
Anything to provide a second chance at life.
Does it equal recovery? No. But when you're dead, you're not going to recover.
Recovery. It's the reason this group rides clean and free.
Narcan's not the most important thing to me. What the most important thing to me is the chance that somebody else has to find recovery.
Yeah.
Returning the favor, 1 box at a time. In Jackson County, Sydney Hood, Grady Newsource.
Amazing story. So, Sydney, can you tell us a little bit more about what the need looks like for Narcan in Georgia?
The demand is greater than the supply, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. The Georgia Department of Public Health says the total number of opioid-related overdose deaths increased by about 100% from 2019 to 2021. It proves as a challenge for the Grateful Few, but they ride wherever the need is, and it's not just in Jackson County, it's not just in Northeast Georgia. They ride north, south, east, west, all across the state. And right now, John and his wife Jen are actually working with lawmakers at the state capitol to get funding to hand out Narcan to first responders statewide.
Oh, that's an amazing story. Thank you so much for covering that.
Coming up, we have a beautiful week ahead, but a freeze could put a chill on your springtime gardening plans.
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters. Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. I'm gonna need that back. No. Kevin!
Welcome back. I'm Connor Hendricks with a look at weather. If you're heading out tonight, it's going to be brisk, so grab a jacket. Lows later on will be around 30 degrees. Till 11 tomorrow morning, it's going to be a freeze warning in effect until around 11 a.m. Lows overnight will get into the 20s, but during the day it'll be pleasant with highs in the mid-50s. Wednesday, it'll be even warmer with it'll be sunny with a high of 61. Overnight, the spring frost returns with temps hovering around freezing. Thursday will feel great. It'll be partly cloudy and just under 70 degrees. If you have any St. Patrick's Day plans, you'll want to pack an umbrella. There's a 70% chance of rain and showers pick up around 9 a.m. There's a chance for a thunderstorm Friday night. With freeze warnings impacting the first half of the week, I spoke with Laura Ney, the Agriculture and Natural Resources Agent at the UGA Extension in Athens, on how the frost could harm your plants and how to best protect them. Ney says some plants have already begun to flower from the warm spring.
If they're ornamentals, you'll burn up all of your petals before you get to enjoy them for very long. If it's a fruiting plant that's putting on flowers, if they lose their flowers earlier than they should from freeze damage, then they won't get pollinated and you'll lose a potential fruit crop. If you have anything that's easy to pull inside that you're a little bit worried about, that maybe is not super hardy this time of year, just go ahead and pull it inside. You could either pull it inside for 3 days. I think a little bit of dim lighting won't hurt anything for 3 days.
Ney says you can use a sheet or a frost cloth to cover plants that are in the ground and can't be moved. If you've been patiently waiting to plant your garden, Ney says you'll have to wait until April to do so. Coming up after the break, Grady Newsource reporter McGregor Rowland will have the latest on UGA sports, as well as a preview for one of the most unpredictable events of the year, March Madness.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Welcome back. I'm McGregor Rowland with your Grady Newsource Sports. This past weekend saw some big victories for UGA, most notably the track and field team's strong showing at the NCAA Indoor Championships. The men's team put on a powerhouse performance, finishing second overall, while the women also had a notable outing, landing in the 5th place spot. The main eye-catching performance of the weekend came from none other than Kyle Garland, the 5th-year senior multi-events track star who continues to prove he is one of the best collegiate track athletes in the country. This past weekend, Garland scored 6,639 points in the heptathlon, setting a collegiate record as well as recording the second-best score in history. His performance, combined with strong showings from the other UGA stars such as Matthew Bowling, Elijah Godwin, and Kayla Jackson, elevated the Bulldogs to a strong finish for the indoor season. In other UGA sports, baseball also had a celebratory weekend as well, winning their series against Charleston Southern 2-1, outscoring the Buccaneers 37 runs to 14. This brings the team's record at 12-4 overall with a 9-3 home record. The Bulldogs will look to carry this momentum into this week, where they will have their first conference matchup series of the season against South Carolina. Friday, March 17th. Continuing the UGA dominance this past weekend was men's tennis, who swept Vanderbilt at home in a 7-0 victory. This improves their conference record of 4-0 and moves them to 10-5 overall. Up next, they will face number 20 ranked Tennessee at home this Saturday. Now shifting gears a tad, let's preview one of the biggest collegiate events of the year, March Madness. Both the men's and women's tournament will begin this Thursday and Friday, with the UGA women's team having a spot in the tournament. The 10th ranked Bulldogs will take on number 7 Florida State this Friday at 1 p.m. On the women's side, the big team to watch will be dominant program South Carolina, who went undefeated this year and are the defending tournament champions. The Gamecocks will seek to win back-to-back titles this year. On the men's side, the main juggernauts are Alabama, Houston, Purdue, and Kansas, all being ranked number 1 going into the tournament. But like any March Madness year, anything can happen. I had the opportunity to talk to UGA sports analytics professor and longtime March Madness fanatic, David Schmidt, to find out who he thinks are some overlooked teams to watch out for.
This tournament is going to be very wide open. Way more wide open I think we've seen the past several years for sure. I think kind of a top seed that isn't going to be talked a lot about that I think could win the whole thing is UConn. UCLA is another one as well that not a lot of people are talking about, but easily could win the whole thing. We saw last year with North Carolina came in as like an 8 seed, just got hot at the right time. It can happen to a lot of teams. Other than that, I mean, there's always going to be upsets in the tournament. That's kind of the best part, especially some of these mid-major schools coming in can cause some.
While uncertainty is the main quality of this tournament, one thing that is set in stone is that it will be an exciting show from start to finish. With the games beginning this weekend, fan-made brackets will be closing within the next 2 days. In pro sports news, the Atlanta Falcons have traded a 7th-round pick for New England Patriots tight end Jonnu Smith. In his 6-season career, Smith has hauled in 169 receptions, tallying 17 touchdowns and over 1,800 yards. He could pan out to be a valuable addition to the tight end room and provide more offensive firepower while playing alongside Kyle Pitts. That's all for your sports update tonight. Olivia will join us back in the studio after the break.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Spring is on its way and flowers are blooming. Grady Newsource reporter Juliana Washburn went to check out a garden that has a special meaning behind it.
Bright yellow flowers just sprung up on the University of Georgia's North Campus. Students pass by the buds every day, but not everyone knows their meaning. Blakesley Young, a sophomore at UGA, walked by the flowers today, but she didn't know what they stood for.
Like, I've seen them before. I just always thought that they were for just like landscaping and just to kind of like make the Athens campus a little bit more pretty, I guess.
The flowers are a part of the Daffodil Project. The goal of this movement is to plant 1.5 million daffodils around the world, one for each child that died in the Holocaust. Sarah Schaefer, a senior landscape architecture student at UGA, was the one who brought this project to the college a little over a year ago.
It kind of just helps reaffirm that this is a safe campus for Jewish students to be on and be openly Jewish.
Schaefer is part of Hillel at UGA, an organization for Jewish students. Hillel helped dig holes for these flowers.
There are about 1,000 daffodils surrounding me right here on UGA's North Campus. They bloom every spring and each one represents a lost life from the Holocaust. But this isn't just happening here. The Daffodil Project's mission is to plant these flowers around the world and hopes to create a worldwide living Holocaust museum.
So far, the project has 861,000 daffodils in 469 places. Now that Young knows the story behind the petals, she wants to spread the word.
But it's even more beautiful when you understand the meaning behind it.
Schaefer hopes the Daffodil Project will continue to pop up around UGA's campus even after she graduates.
Hopefully people just kind of keep walking by and keep looking at them and smiling that there are flowers blooming and then understanding the significance.
Reporting in Athens, this is Juliana Washburn with Grady Newsource.
History was made last night at the 95th Oscars ceremony. Michelle Yeoh became the first Asian woman to receive the award for Best Actress in a Leading Role, becoming only the second woman of color ever to receive this award. Yeoh's win has sparked conversation online, many criticizing the Academy for what they say is a lack of recognition for women of color. And if you've been feeling a little more slow these past 2 days, it's for a good reason. We sprang forward yesterday, losing an hour of sleep because of daylight savings time. This time change happens twice a year with a fall back to standard time in November. But for now, we'll see a later sunrise and sunset. Thank you for joining us. For Grady Newsource, I'm Olivia Gauthier.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
So they did well. Yes, so yeah, we're going to do a live critique now. You're welcome to, if you...
Thank you so much.
Somebody has to go to the 5 and 10 and eat dinner.
All right, enjoy your dinner and thank you for visiting.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. All right. So, we made it. We we have technical difficulties, but that's what I told Destiny, who almost had a heart attack. I said, no show is worth a heart attack. Basically, you won't learn if you're not subjected to certain twists and turns and things go wrong. And our anchor was indomitable. She kept going. She was prepared. We thought of all sorts of worst-case scenarios, and things didn't work out according to our worst-case scenarios. It was a little different, but you handled it. You had your scripts, and you handled it the best way you could as well. The fact that I'll just leave it, Tom, to you, who almost had a heart attack.
No, I'll live to fight another day. There's nothing in here worth dying over. Love all of you. Don't hear me wrong.
Yeah,
no.
yeah. So
live view didn't work. It was outside of the building. It's one of those things where if everything looks good on this end, everything tests well on this end, and then it's something outside of this building. I don't know why, but I have a theory, and it's always when we're running late to a live shot, it's going to be bad. Always. Like I would chisel that in stone. Other than that, packages, most of them were in by 4:30. The last one was 4:32. Vertical video was the only other thing, and it was in the open. If you gotta have vertical video, let's look at how to edit it and make it not just be a swath and then black. There's ways you can do that. Other than that, I mean, the tech team, they stayed calm, which is always a plus. And I'm gonna quote Sarah, who said that was a show for show. Yeah. So.
But she was very calm.
I don't know if that was very calm, but
She didn't throw anything this time.
yeah, definitely a lot of just communication things were slow, especially in the beginning when that first live shot was down and we had no idea where we were going. So yeah, just for producer notes, just like communicate. Obviously, that I think just the beginning of the show really just snuck up on us. I also threw a couple people into new positions. So just figuring out where we were on the show was just like a little stressful on my new people, but I think we handled it pretty well. My only thing again is I'm still seeing SOTs labeled as VOs, and I do have time to look and see if they are VOs and SOTs, but it just makes my life a little harder. So if we could get that down, that'd be great. Yeah, that's it for me.
How could we have communicated clearer that we wanted the anchor to toss? We had prepared, I think we explained that, but maybe you guys were really flustered.
Yeah, I think just
that
in that
we had
beginning
prepared
of the show,
her. She was prepared to read the toss to Ashley, but not say she's joining us live. And you played the package straight away.
Yeah.
And then the first time viewers saw the anchor was actually after our first package had aired.
Well, we did go to her first. We didn't have audio in the booth, so I have no idea what she actually said. But
oh, really? We did?
We did go to her
because I didn't hear.
Yeah. We also didn't hear her.
There was an audio issue.
There was an audio issue at first.
Oh,
there was
okay.
a channel.
So we did. So Destiny did communicate to you clearly that we wanted the anchor to toss to Ashley's donut. Okay. I wanted to make sure if we should do things differently, because as you say, Sarah, it's all about communicating. Yeah.
And I think definitely having those backups for that live shot was a good idea. I think for some reason that backup script also had Maddie's name in it, at least that second one when we put in. So coming up with that second script actually sounds like a really great idea, because then if we do have a live shot issue, we can still play that material and get y'all's packages out, just not with the live.
So what we need to do for that, what I'm going to call the punt script, when everything goes bad and you got to punt, it needs to be with everything included, so that the producer can right-click and float, right-click unfloat, and everything flows. I know that, was it A5? It literally just said Olivia for the script, and I know that you guys had talked about it, but it wasn't there. So that's a challenge, but we now know what the issue is, and moving forward, that problem can be solved. But I definitely think that punt script is essential, but it needs to be just as fleshed out as the original plan.
Yeah, it just needs to be a total alternative from start to finish. One of them is floated, the other one is unfloated. If we have the live shot, the punt script is floated. If we don't have the live shot, the
and
punts,
it's just a couple of right clicks, and you're good to go to flip the script, for lack of a better word.
And that's the way it should be done. Yes.
But again, I meant brag on you guys. Audio coming in your package is much better than it was several weeks ago. I mean, it's consistent across the board for most of the packages, which is a gift.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. Yeah, and kudos to all of you. A lot of you worked double, triple things and did whatever needed to be done as a real team to get us where we should have been. Yeah. Even though we were like I lost count how many people called in sick today. I think it was 4 or 5. But I really, really appreciate how you all stepped in. And I thought it was a pretty good show, with the exception of the live shots that didn't pan out. I have a few suggestions. Olivia G., I really liked that interview, the way you had edited it. That was an example, I don't know if you watched it, of how you can record a Zoom interview where you have the guest coming full from time to time. There is, I think I learned how to do it a while ago. I forgot how you do it, but you just change the view mode, right, as you're recording it. And so you have some variation of yourself as a close-up, asking a question or reacting in real time. So that was very well done. With the Sojo Q&A, maybe you weren't aware that you were constantly on camera as Sydney was talking to you, and you let it show that a little bit of how disappointed you were that the show didn't go the way you looked, sort of sad, and but not all the time, just from time to time, because I know you. You have a very expressive face, and it shows, whenever you have a little feeling, it shows on your face, because you have such an expressive face. And I have been told that as well, to be very careful, because I have the same thing, that anything, I try to not to show too much. And, I tended to also empathize a lot with the people that I interviewed, and I would have my CNN boss always tell me that I have to be passionate, never to lose that, but also be dispassionate at the same time. I was showing too much emotion. And so I don't like watching myself, but watch yourself. You will see the moments in which you seem to be a little bit disengaged. Don't worry about it. It's just something that I have had to watch myself and not give myself away, because I had to be both passionate and dispassionate. And I was like, what does she mean? And then I watched myself and I realized what she meant was basically you still have to go and try and connect with the viewers and show you're a human being, but not overdo it, because then you're not keeping your distance. And that's how I can explain it. And if you watch yourself, I think you will understand. So at certain points, into my disappointment, sadness, compassion for somebody, who suffered in a package or whatever, I still show compassion, but I don't overdo it. So I hope I'm making sense with what, and for all of you, have that in mind. All of you have very expressive faces, and it's good to have that in mind. And you're not alone if you don't like to watch yourself, but it helps because with you, very personable. However, I wish you had smiled. You had a great moment that I'm going to tell you. Never miss a good moment for sort of like a little smile. That was when you were tossing to the soundbite. You were like the guy, I talked to a fanatic, for March Madness. And that's when you could have smiled because it's kind of funny, right? And so that's a perfect opportunity. Again, watch yourself and you'll see. You're good at variation of the pitch, the tone, changing the subject in that way, but you kept the same, you didn't show that handsome smile of yours, which there were many moments in which I wanted to see that smile. Don't overdo it now. Don't be just smiling all the time when you're doing sports. But we could have seen that a little bit, especially when, that was so funny. The way you introduced that guy was just perfect. That he was a self-professed fanatic, so let's watch. And the way to do this again and be genuine is like, I talked to him and, who's a self-professed fanatic, and here's, what he told me. And just kind of use the smile a little bit in addition to your great use of the tone and pitch. You've got it down. Yeah. But just smile where appropriate and where it feels genuine. So I hope I'm making sense. But as painful as it can be, you did a great job. Watch yourself and maybe you'll see what I mean, and ask me if I'm not making sense. Connor, same thing, very personable. Loved both of you. You did extra. You had those sound bites. Your focus was it was right on the mark with the freezes coming up, and you introduced something quite serious that's affecting a lot of people, especially in our farming community. We're very rural here, so it was right on the mark. I wish you could have let go and actually ad-libbed instead of read. Your presentation was very natural, but it could have benefited from you just using that graphic as your cheat sheet. The highs and lows. You were very good at not hiding the temperatures. That was very good. So I really liked both of your presentations. I liked Olivia G when we were not throwing punt balls, which you handled very well. You punted very well with all these curveballs, I meant. You're, as I've told you, you're natural on camera. You were prepared. You realized that, you need to pick up that script like we talked. You had it ready there and you read. And, it always feels worse, trust me, when you get off the air and things have not gone the way you expected them to be. It always feels worse. But if you have the courage, watch yourself. And at the end, it was the Olivia I know. You relaxed and you introduced your stories. You smiled. You relaxed at the end. Do more of that. And this was not an easy show, but you learned a lot. And boy, do you have a story to tell a future employer, you know. And that's what I told Destiny as well, as a producer, her first time producing. You have a story to tell, you know. You had so many challenges. Not enough content, not enough people to produce it. You yourself had to write, which usually producers do write. Everybody, I mean, Josh went out and did a great package. Just one thing, Josh, I know that this is from TikTok kind of thing where you had the three other speakers, one after the other, and they were in a TikTok mode, like chung, chung. I don't know how to describe that, but to me, maybe I'm old school, but this is really distracting to me to have them, you know, I don't know how to describe this, but you know, guys, what I'm talking about. There needs to be a little dissolve between them. I don't know. You guys tell me, but and Tom, you tell me that TikTok thing, you know, is it okay for broadcast? To me, as old school, it is very distracting. And I want to see a little dissolve or something effect in between. But maybe it's me being too old. I don't know. You guys tell me.
It's all a matter of taste. I didn't see it, so I can't comment on it. But
yeah, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? To me, those look like jump cuts kind of things. And also with the stand-ups, what is it with those kneeling stand-ups? Olivia W. and even Sydney was kneeling. I guess she wanted to reach. I was like, why is she doing this? And I thought maybe because she wants to reach that, she wants to make sure that she will open that lid. So I sort of got where, but again, it may be me being old school, but unless there's a reason to do it, and I notice you like that and you do it, sometimes it works. Yeah. So, yeah, and I never saw, like in her package, I saw the Narcan, I saw your B-roll was just documents and people. You couldn't get a hold of the package itself. Yeah. Yeah, because we actually didn't see what the story is about. Basically, that's the most important part of the story, right? What we're talking about. So that's what I would have suggested. And again, I'm not saying that the stand-up didn't work, but to me, I don't know, you guys. Anybody, please be free to talk to me and tell me that that was something that looked okay to you as young people who are doing a lot of TikTok. What do you think? I mean, you can totally disagree with me.
I think Sydney especially looked really good and worked very well, especially that she showed, you know.
Oh yeah, I love the demo stand-up, don't get me wrong. It was excellent. I just wish she wasn't kneeling. That's all.
Yeah, I understand. But and of course, Olivia can't find the platform. You know, that tripod is short.
Yeah, with Olivia W's, I don't know. I would suggest I want her to get a regular tripod, not a mini me. So, and try that, because I liked you did one I think it was in a pharmacy where you were amongst the medicines, and that worked so good. That's where it worked. I loved it. But this one was like, I couldn't get it. So anyway, but that's just me. Sydney, you wanted to say something. I saw you. Okay. So guys, I mean, these are just like little, I'm nitpicking. I am really, Sydney, your package was excellent. So were you, I was a little scared with, you were driving and shooting those people.
I was the passenger, a helmet was worn.
Okay, I was like, no story, no Sojo story is worth.
I have picture proof if anyone cared to see of me
Okay.
Thank you for caution for
All right. I just wanted to make sure, but all right, good. Yeah, it was an excellent package. You met all the principals. I love the demo stand-up. Totally agree with you, Clay. It was a great stand-up. Anyway, but that's just me. I'm just nitpicking. And Julia, that was a very heartwarming package. Although there were too many. Did I call you Jules? Yes. Sorry, guys. It's been a long day. And that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. You know me and names. Just forgive me. I've warned you. Just a lot of photographs. Were those from the people? Okay. When they were not copyrighted? No. You had, okay. Yeah, but that was a beautiful piece as well. Yeah, and I really liked it, and it was a quick turn, and you delivered more than a quick turn, and we needed this today. Logan, tell us what happened with you.
The car broke down. It was very fun. I was on the road and it just gave out. And I was like, okay. Very scary for a few moments. I did get a friend to come get me, but I was stranded there for quite some time. So that was very unfortunate. I was very excited about my package.
Was it a very busy street, like a highway? Was it?
No, it was just like a regular, like, empty
Yeah.
road. Fortunately, I was not on a busy street or a
Yeah.
or anything, but it just gave out on me.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're safe. Yeah. Anyway, I want to. Oh my goodness, I talk too much again, don't I? Destiny, it's over to you. And then pass it on to Josh and Rachel. You guys did a great job. Double, triple duty.
So first, I want to thank the entire class, especially Rachel and then Olivia for helping me with the readers today, because I'm still not the best with doing readers. But I woke up today with a very bad panic attack because I was stressed over being the producer. Like the very first day of this class, I'm like, I don't want to be the producers. I was stressed out. I would be an anchor, an MJ, and then a producer job just scared me and stuff. But I'm actually surprised at how well I held this today. Even though I had chest pain in the newsroom over there, I'm really just happy with how I held it together today. So, and I'm still tired from daylight savings, but I made it through.
We're all tired from daylight savings, yes. Me included. I'm getting names wrong and...
Yes. But I think I did a good job for producing my first show, so I'm very proud of myself. And I can go home and watch The Bachelor and be happy. So that's my reward. And to eat chocolate, that's my reward for today.
And we've got some more here if you want.
Yes. But that's all for me.
Yeah, I'll echo what Destiny said. Thank you guys. I think it was a good show. Rachel, I echo Destiny's sentiments as well. Thank you for your help with looking over some of the stories, because I didn't have as much time as I could have to do managing editor because I was working on a package as well. And so Jules, thank you for the tip and your help with helping me put that story together. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Jules, you were incredible. How many, and you deserve for me to get your name right. But you provided a contact, you helped us out, you came up with additional ideas, and that really, really helped on a very, very tough day today. So thank you. I would second what you said. That was quite impressive what she did. And you did a great job with, I really like the sources you were able to get, and it was important, yeah. And so, Olivia, do you want to say something?
Today. I definitely learned that you cannot be over prepared, just because you really never know what can happen. And I feel like we talked about it, and I like tried to prepare the best that I could, but then it's like once you're there and it's like the camera's rolling, it is really like nerve-wracking just to like, okay, what do I do next? Like it's on you. But overall, I did think that it also was a good show. Thank you, Jules, again for giving me that contact, because that ended up being, I think, a really good piece to have in our show. And Destiny did a good job as well. It was a learning experience for all of us. But yeah, I had fun as anchor.
Yeah, I just want to also thank everybody. Pretty much everybody had almost all their stuff in on time, and you guys were great about letting me know where you were with what you were doing, which is very helpful. Good job. I think it's a rough.
Yes.
it's a
It was
rough
very
one to be
rough.
the
It was-
first time you did, but
But that's how you learn, if everything went right. And now nothing else can scare you, right? And you did it here in the sandbox. And so when you're out in the real world, I believe it built your confidence, even though you almost had a heart attack. And I told you, no show is worth a heart attack. You can only do your best, right?
First off, thank you everybody that sent me stuff for the posts. Got everything on social media. Just wanted to give some advice. When Dr. Bright sends you a big kind of summary of what you're going to do the day before, go ahead and log into everything, because I'm sure y'all might have said that, but yeah, that made my day, the start of my day, a little hectic. So log into everything the day before so she can verify it on her phone in the 30 seconds that you send her to verify it, and that's all I got. So that'll make your day a lot easier.
Yeah, you can update it. And guys, on Wednesday we will have a senior producer from New York, I mentioned. So, it's good for you to try to get noticed and try to get some good advice from somebody from a different perspective. So bear that in mind. And so I'm trying to kind of expose you to more and more people, so more and more people see your work. The same thing goes with your Sojo packages. I want to send them before we have this critique. At the end, we'll have a Sojo show. Before we have the critique, I want to send your packages to. And so I'm looking forward to you meeting Jennifer Johnston. I think you will, if I got her name right, I think I did. I think you will enjoy her. So thank you so much. Love you guys. Really impressed with all of you. And let's do it again, maybe better on Wednesday. And I'm really impressed with how you all came together on a challenging day when we're all we didn't sleep enough.